All right, we're going to be covering Module 7, Homework 1. This is the beginning of the modules for Test 4. Now, it says simplify the following expression completely. Now, you have 5x plus 45 over x squared plus 5x minus 36. Now, it says enter the numerator and denominator separately in the boxes below. If the denominator is 1, enter the number 1. Do not leave either box blank. So the answer is, okay? The attendance code, again, that was 4407. 4407. All right. Anyway, sorry about that. Now, what I want to do is go ahead and factor both numerator and denominator. So I factored out 5 between 5 and 45 and got this. And now I'm going to go ahead and ask myself what two numbers multiply together to create 36 that adds up to 5. Well, we talk about 6 times 6 is 36. We talk about 4 times 9 is 36. So because this is negative, it's definitely going to be the 9 and the 4. And the other thing to look at is the fact that most likely what's going to happen is something's going to be simplified, and most likely 9, this x minus or plus 9 is going to be the other factor. But we get this, right? Now what happens is that this is the factor to reveal, this is the revealing part that what gets canceled. So that's the process of factor to reveal to cancel. So what we're going to do is put the answer as 5 in the numerator, and in the denominator we would put x minus 4. So here are the answers that we just identified. All right. So pretty straightforward. Now you go ahead and look at 40q over 15q, and we know that anything over itself is equal to 1, so these cancel each other. And then we know that 5 can go into both these numbers 8 and 3 times. So there's our answer. All right, 8/3. Likewise, we're going to do the same thing continuously throughout this. We're going to simplify these rational expressions. So we have 20 over 45 with q to the third, q to the fifth. What we want to do is bring the 3 q's down. So I'm going to knock out all 3 of these and subtract it from the 5. And that gives me 2 more q's in the bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and simplify 20 over 45 to give me 4 over 9, because 5 goes into both of those numbers. So our answer is 4 over 9q. Oh, I forgot the 2. My bad. There it is. See, I had to correct myself. All right, now 30 over, or 30p squared over 36p to the 4th. Again, we take out those. This time I will not forget that it's 2. So I'm going to, matter of fact, while I'm concentrating on it, I might want to write that down, because my transcription error happened because I didn't write it down right away. Once you focus on something, you write it down real fast. And now 30 over 36 is obviously 5 over 6, because 6 goes into both those numbers. So there's our answer, 5 over 6p squared. All right, so that's the answer we're looking for. See, this is pretty straightforward, pretty easy, I would agree, so far. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. So we have 4y to the 5th, and then we have y, or xy, minus 4y. Now, when we look at this, we have to go ahead and factor out a y for this denominator. And when we do, we get this. And we know that this y can cancel out one of these y's and gives us 4 now. So then our answer will be 4y to the 4th, with the denominator being x minus 4. So that's the answer we're looking for that. So A would be 4y y to the 4th, and then the B value would be the x minus the 4. All right, so that's that one. Let's take a look at this. We have 3x plus 18 over 12. I like to look at this as a triangle. First of all, there's no letters that are involved here other than the x, but the x doesn't matter because there's no other x's in any other things. So we don't have to worry about that. But watch this. I like to think about this as a triangle. And so when I look at it, I see that 3 can go in all three of those numbers, and I would reduce everything by 3. So I would go ahead and get this as my answer. And I'm done. That's how fast I do that. Now, you could do it where you factor out the 3 and you get this. All right, and then you get this, and then 3 goes into 12 4 times, and 3 goes into itself 1 time. But that's so boring. I like the triangle thing because I think of the Triforce in Zelda because I'm a gamer. Okay, I know you don't like to think about games. I do. So the Triforce. Okay, so anyway, you have that as your answer. See, one thing I love about math, it is a game. I mean, it's a puzzle, and I think of video games when I think of puzzles. All right, so we have 42, and then we know we're going to take the 6 out. Again, we could do the Triforce thing. We could take out the 6, but like, why don't we just do this, the Triforce now, the triangle. 6 goes into all those numbers, so we're going to just go ahead and put 7 and then x minus 1, and that's our answer. Oh man, these go very, very quick when you know what you're doing, right? So now let's take a look at this one. See, now if you have been troubled by factoring in the past, this seemingly, I don't know for what reason, students get stronger at factoring when they do this particular lesson. They just start to understand factoring because you're going to do a lot more of it. Because what two numbers multiply together to create 14 that adds up to 5? So negative 14, you're thinking 7 times 2, right? 7 is positive, 2 is negative. So I'm going to factor that right away while I'm writing it down. So I'm going to go ahead and write x plus 7 and then x minus 2, because those two will multiply together to create the negative 14 that adds up to 5. Now we go ahead and do the same thing for the denominator. 18, we think about 3 times 6, 2 times 9, and wait a second, 2 times 9, if I subtract 2 from 9, it gives me 7. So my answer would be that, which is 2 times 9, and I'm going to go ahead and put 9 here because I need it to be positive, and then I'm going to put the x minus 2 here. Those two numbers multiply together to create that negative 18 that add up to the positive 7. And then these two will cancel each other. So factor to reveal to cancel. And my answer is what's in the box here. And I'm done. So my answers work out very quickly when I know how to factor, right? So now we get into, we were dealing with monic trinomials here, factoring. So it was a little easier factoring these. But then we get into general trinomials, which is this right here. So we'd have to do this. 3 times 2 is 6. And then we have 7. That's a positive 6, and that's a positive 7. So it's going to be 1 times 6 is 6. 1 plus 6 is 7. Those are the two numbers we needed. So we're going to put that 1 over 3, and then 1, or the 6 over 3, and then we're going to get 2 for this one over 1. I kind of hate that I did that. I want to erase it. I'm sorry, but I'm going to go ahead. I like it to keep it on the same level because the reason why I do this is because I'm going to do the bottoms up, right? So we're going to go ahead and do bottoms up now and do 3x plus 1, and then the 1 comes up and it gives me 1x. I don't need to put the 1. I'm just going to put x plus 2. And that is the factor form of the numerator. we do the same exact thing for the denominator. We're going to do 3 times -4 is -12. And then I have a -11. So it's going to be -12 times 1 gives me -12 that adds up to -11. So I circle my two numbers here, and then I'm going to go ahead and write them down as fractions, and I'm going to steal some of the space over here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the -12 over our leading coefficient of 3, and I'm going to put the 1 over the 3. And then this reduces down to -4 over 1. This is going to remain as 3 over, or 1 over 3. Now that gives me 3, because remember, bottoms up, 3x plus 1 again, and then it's going to also give me 1x minus 4. So now I have this factor, these cancel, so factor to reveal to cancel leaves me with this as my answer. So this is a chicken, chicken fight. So I always think about the chicken scratches, like scratching off things. Think of a lottery ticket. So you're trying to, like, I also think about matching, like you're factoring to find the matches in matching games. I played that with my kids all the time. I enjoy those kinds of things. It helps improve memory. All right, so we have that. Now with this one, all right, we're going to go ahead and see that this looks like the difference of two squares. Okay, this 9x squared minus 16. As a matter of fact, it is, because I could take the square root of both those terms and I get this. Now, here's one thing you can think about. We know that we're looking for values that look like this when we factor this. Okay, just throwing that out there, right? We know we're looking for one of these values because it's going to be a chicken scratch game, like the scratch offs, the matching game. But anyway, I just want to go ahead and say that, because now I'm going to do 9 times 7 is 72, and then I have 18. What two numbers multiply together to create 72? That gives us 9. That gives us 18, and that would be 6 and 12, because they multiply together. And then I'm going to go ahead and put 6 over 9, and I'm going to put 12 over 9. Now, both of these can't go into itself. So what we're going to do is reduce them. So we're going to go ahead and put 2/3, and then we're going to go ahead and put 4/3. Now that gives us then 3 plus 4, and that's going to give us 3x plus 2. Now that means that these two knock each other out, all right, leaving us with this as our answer. So this isn't a matter of knowing how to factor and being able to be proficient at factoring, because the result, as you can see, is pretty simple to find once you know how to factor, because it's the factor to reveal to simplify, or cancel, always what I say, right? So now it says evaluate this expression when x equals -6. Well, I'm going to take a look at this question. I'm immediately drawn to the denominator. When I look at the denominator, I see x equaling -6, and I see that I have a +6. -6 plus 6 gives me 0. Whenever I have a 0, that's undefined. Okay, so if the answer is undefined, write undefined, and they basically are telling you what the answer is by giving you that clue. So we have the answer of undefined. So they're trying to make sure to highlight the idea that if you come up with an answer for an equation, that sometimes the answer might not work for the original equation. So they're trying to make sure to draw your attention to that idea. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and look at the next question. Now, I see that this has x squared. Well, first of all, let's go ahead and factor it. I don't really need to write it down. I mean, it's right there on the screen. So let's go ahead and start factoring. We have what two numbers multiply together to create positive 10 that adds up to negative 7? So we're looking at x minus 5 times x minus 2, and we're going to get negative 5 times negative 2 is a positive 10, and then those added together gives us that negative 7. Now I'm going to go ahead and look at the denominator. Now, I personally don't like that they have a negative for the leading coefficient of the x squared. So what I'll do is I'll draw out the negative sign and make it become this. Now, this gives me a better feel because look at what the top is, right? It has the x first and everything else. So when I go ahead and factor this, this is going to be my new form, right? Watch this. It's the difference of two squares. So I'm going to write this down again, the numerator. And then I'm going to go ahead and put that negative sign in front of this, but it's going to be x plus 5, x minus 5. Where these two cancel each other, leaving us with negative x plus or minus 2 over x plus 5. So we have to put that negative sign in front of all of what we come up with. And if we don't, then we would have to distribute it to the numerator. So if I distribute it to the numerator, you'll get the answer that they came up with, which is, if I go ahead and do it that way, you get negative 2, negative of a negative 2 is going to be positive 2, and then negative x gives us negative x, and that's why the answer is what they have written there. Now, in my opinion, I'm going to show you that they would accept this as an answer. Watch this. So I'm going to go ahead and put that, and I'll put x minus 2 over x plus 5. All right, now let's see what they look at. If I submit the answer, you can see that I get full credit for it. So if you prefer to keep the negative sign on the outside like I would have done, you get that answer and it's correct. It's not going to be marked wrong. Well, this is an appropriate answer as well. The one I would think is more appropriate is this one, myself, because I like to put the negative in front of the fraction. All right, so that gets us now moving on. Okay, so we're looking at what two numbers multiply together to create 32 that adds up to 12. Well, 32, we have 32 is 16 times 2. That doesn't work. We have 4 times 8. That's 32, and that adds up to 12. So I'm going to go ahead and say 4 and 8. So I would go ahead and put positive 8, positive 4. And then I'm going to ask myself what two numbers multiply together to create 72 that adds up to 17, and that is 9 and 8. And I would get the following. And these will cancel each other, leaving me with this as my answer. All right, so we have that as our choice. All right, now, again, some of this gets really weird. First of all, that looks really, really weird. Something went goofy there. Okay, but I'll maybe have to reset that. That's weird. Okay, TC request. That is strange. I'm looking at the bottom here, by the way. Okay, sorry, I got distracted. So now, looking at 3 times 8 is 24, negative 10. We have, it's a negative value when you add them together, and then it's positive 24 when you get it. So if I look at that, I'm looking at what then? 4 times 6 is 24, both of them being negative. So I'm going to have negative 6 over 3 is negative 2. And then I have negative 4 over 3, and that's going to be left alone. So it's going to be negative 2 over 1, which then means I have, for my numerator, x minus 2, and then I have 3x minus 4 for my numerator. Let's go ahead and do that once more. We have 3 times 4 is 12 over negative 7. And then, of course, since 12 is 4 times 3 and 3 plus 4 is 7, we're going to have -3 and -4 as our answers for that. So we're going to get -3 over 3 is equal to -1 over 1. And then we have -4 over 3, which gives us the 3x minus 4, by the way. So we have our answer of x minus 1 and then 3x minus 4. These cancel each other, leaving us with this as our answer. All right. Okay, so look at that. I love this stuff. Now, I don't know what the heck's going on, like I said, with this. This has caught my attention, but I'm just going to go ahead and complete the problem, simplify this. It says we have -6. So what I'm looking at is all I can simplify is the z's. So the highest number of z's I can go ahead and do is z to the second. So when I do just variables and not numbers, because there's no sense in pulling out numbers, we could pull out a 2 in this. Watch, I could go ahead and do it this way, and I'm going to be interested in seeing how the answer is displayed. I can pull out a -2z to the second from both of those and turn that into 3z to the third positive 4. And then I can go ahead and do z to the fourth. And then these z's will cancel out these two of these z's, leaving me with z to the second. So now my answer, it depends on how they want it. They could put it as -2 times this right here over z to the second, or in this case right here, as two answers might be provided, I could have also this as an answer as well, which seemingly seems appropriate, but for some, they would rather it be simplified a little bit, perhaps, but I don't see any reason to, but let's see what the answer is they selected. All right, they went ahead and put that as the answer versus, oh, maybe you couldn't see what I was writing because I was off the screen. Sorry about that. Here's what I would say that is an appropriate answer as well. Okay, so it's 6/2 dozen the other. Now, because it's the same answer, so just so you know, don't sweat about those kinds of small things. Okay, so you have 8 times 9 is 72. I feel like we did this before with the 18 again. We have 12 times 6. Yeah, we've done this one. Just different denominator. Okay, so anyway, we have now the 12 over 8, and that's going to be the 3 over 2, and then you get the 6 over the 8, which gives us the 3 over 4. 2. Oh, okay, 2 goes into both of those. Sorry, I'm having brain farts. There we go. Okay, so 4 goes into both of these, and 2 goes into both of these. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and factor this. It'd be 4x plus 3. And then we have 2x plus 3. And now we're going to go ahead and do the different 2 squares in the denominator. That's going to be 4x plus 3, and then 4x minus 3. And then we're going to go ahead and knock out these, leaving us with this as our answer. So that's that one. Now, if you're able to keep up with me in factoring as fast as I factor, then you know how to factor. There's no questions about it. Okay, now we're looking at dividing and multiplying these for the last 4 of these. Now, when we're looking at dividing and multiplying, it's the same idea as we've been doing this entire time, except now you're going to have more things to factor. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the top one there. So we're going to get number 17, x plus 10, x minus 10. So that's the numerator for the top there. And then what two numbers multiply together to create 60 that add up to 16 is going to be 10 and 6. And now remember, when it comes down to fractions, it's keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. You know how you have KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken? Well, this is KCF, so Kentucky Chicken Fry. That's weird. But anyway, keep, change, flip. So what you want to do is go ahead and keep the first fraction the same, change from division to multiplication, and you want to reciprocate or flip the second fraction while you're taking the factor form of it. So what two numbers multiply together to create negative 18 that add up to 3? So that's going to be 6 times 3. So we're going to go ahead and look at it being positive 6. And then we have negative 3. Now we're going to go ahead and put it as the numerator. So I did the denominator as the numerator. Notice this, I was focusing on the negative 18 and then the 3. So that's why I factored it on the numerator. Now I'm looking at the numerator and making it become the denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and factor that. What two numbers multiply together to create 20 to add up to negative 12, and that would be negative 10 and negative 2. Now that we factored it all, we KCF'd it, all right? KCF'd it. That's a weird way of saying stuff, but anyway, we're going to go ahead and now play the chicken off scratch off game. So this is matching. These match right here. These match right here, leaving us with our answer of this one right here. That is our answer that we're going to reveal. And I love it. Everything just cancels, and boom, we get our answer real quick. So canceling, so it's factor to reveal to cancel or simplify. All right, now we move on to multiplication. You don't have to do the KCF, okay? We don't have to KCF it. Now, let's take a look at this. We're going to go ahead and factor it. So factoring, what two numbers multiply together to create negative 8 that add up to negative 7. So we're looking at 8 and 1, right? Because we're going to get a positive 1 added to a negative 8 gives us negative 7. That's factored form of that numerator, the denominator. What two numbers multiply together to create 36 that adds up to negative 13, and that'll be 9 and 4. So we're going to get negative 4, negative 9, because they multiply together to create a positive 36 and add together to create the negative 13. Now we're going to go ahead and keep this all the same because it's multiplication, and we're going to factor the y squared minus 81 is difference of two squares, and we're going to get positive 9, negative 9. All right, we have that. And then we're going to do the same thing for the denominator here. We see that it's 72, all right, and then it's 1. So what two numbers multiply together to create 72? That gives us positive 1, and we're going to get negative 8 and 9. All right, so we have that. Now we factored it, we're going to do the chicken scratch game. All right, this one, let's see, this one cancels this one. Let's do that. This one cancels this one. And then this one cancels this one, leaving us with this as our answer. So we have our answer. It's y plus 1 over y minus 4. So we're going to have one more multiplication and one more division, and then we're going to be done. So what two numbers multiply together to create 20 that adds up to negative 12, and we've done that one before. So it's going to be x. I wanted to put y again because I just done y. Okay, so x minus 2x minus 10. And then we have, now this is interesting. It's a cubic function. It's a cube function that we have to factor. So the way you do that is take the cubic root of it. You're going to get this. And then it's, remember, you cube it. So the cube root of x to the third is x. The cube root of 8 is 2. And then you keep the same sign. So remember SOAP, same. And then it's square, the first term squared, then the opposite sign, these two multiply together, and then always positive is the last term, and it's going to be 4 because 2 times 2 is 4. So that's how you factor out the differences of cubes. Now we're multiplying here, so we're going to go ahead and factor out the next one, and that is going to be what two numbers multiply together to create 4 that adds up to 2, and that's going to be 2 times 2. Nope, hold on, wait a second. 2 times, oh, wait a second, we can't factor that. That can't be factored. Woohoo! You know why? It's the same thing as what's in our denominator already. Over here. Right there it is. So they want us to scratch that out. I love that scratch off game. Give me that all day. Okay? Because this is going to cancel this eventually. I love it. Well, I just did it, so it's not eventually now. So now I go ahead and factor the denominator here. So it's going to be positive 10, negative 11. That's got to be a negative 10 and a negative 1. And then we're going to go ahead and look at this as our answer. Watch this. This will cancel this. This will cancel this. And then this cancels this, leaving us with 1 over what we have here. So our answer is 1 over x minus 1. Wow, that is pretty awesome. All right, I love it. All right, now remember keep, change, flip. So we're going to KCF it. Now we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to get y. What two numbers multiply together create negative 7 that add up to negative 6? That will be positive 1 and negative 7. And then we're going to go ahead and factor the bottom there. So what two numbers multiply together create negative 4 that adds up to negative 3? And that's going to be negative or positive 1 and negative 4. And then we change or keep changed from division to multiplication, and then reciprocate the denominator or the next fraction. So that means flip it. I'm going to factor the denominator and make it become the numerator. So what two numbers multiply together to create 4 that adds up to negative 5? And that's going to be 4 and 1, both negatives. And then I'm going to go ahead and now factor the numerator, make it become the denominator. What two numbers multiply together to create 9 that adds up to negative 10? And that is, again, negative 1 and negative 9. Seemingly so that they give us common ideas here. Now, the reason why is because they want this to happen, the chicken scratch game. Yay, I love the chicken scratch game. Oh, this can cancel this out. So I'm left with this over that guy. I kind of scratched that out. So my answer is y minus 7 over y minus 9. All right. And that is our answer for that one. Okay, so we have our process now. We have our ways about approaching this. And so you got the strategies. That's homework 1 of module 7.